Hello everyone. What I want to do in this short video is show you how to get started with Replit.com and a short introduction to Python. I'm not going to be going very in-depth into Python, just some very basic techniques to get you started. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to Replit.com, Replit.com. So go ahead, type that into your navigation bar in your browser, and you can use whatever browser that you want. I'm using Chrome. And once you've done that, you're going to get to this start page right here. I'm going to assume that you do not have a Replit account. And so what you're going to do up here in the upper right is you're going to click sign up. And there's a few different ways that you can sign up with Replit. If you've got an email address and you want a standard account where you type in your email address and then you type in your password, you can do that. But what I recommend, especially if you are a student, is that you continue with Google if your school uses Google or Gmail. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to continue with Google. If you've got more than one Google account, I'll ask you to choose. I'm going to choose this one right here. And now we are on the Replit start screen. Now the first time you log into Replit, you might get a whole bunch of different informational screens and pop-ups. Just go ahead and click through those until you get to this start screen. So what we're going to do now is we're going to start up a Python project. And we're going to do some very simple Python. If you already have some coding experience in Python, this can be kind of boring. But if you've never coded before, and that's kind of what this is aimed at, go ahead. What you're going to do is you're going to come over here in the upper left where it says Create REPL, R-E-P-L. You're going to press it. Now what we're going to do is we need to search for what language we're going to use. And remember, we're going to be using Python. And there's a ton of different templates for all sorts of different languages. HTML, Node.js, C++, C, Java, Python with Turtle, C#, Bash, Pygame, all kinds of stuff. What I'm going to do the easiest way is I'm just going to type in Python here into the search bar. Now you notice there's a whole bunch of different Python options. All we really want is the standard, average, everyday Python for us. Later on, we might start using this Python with Turtle, but for now, let's just do Python, standard Python. Now when I click on it, I can now title my project, and it gives it a random name, yummy, robust, printable character. Yours will be different, but I'm going to change that. So I'm going to come over here. If it's not highlighted, I'm just going to double click to highlight it. Or I can click and drag to highlight it. I'm going to delete that. And now I'm going to call this one Hello World. Hello World is kind of the standard program that people learn when they first start learning a programming language. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure we got Python, Hello World. Okay. And all this right here means is that our program will be public. Other people can see our program. And that's just fine. You can make private projects with Replit, but you have to have a paid account. All right, now I'm going to click this Create REPL, and here we go. Okay, it's completely booted, so let's talk about what we've got going on over here. I'm going to start actually with the center area right here. This center area where it says main.py right up here. This is where you're going to type in your program, okay? So this is the editor. Over here, this large dark area over here is the output. It's the console. It's going to have our output of our program, as we'll see over here. And then finally, all the way over here in the left-hand pane, we have a bunch of tools and we have our file navigator. it creates an initial Python file for us called main.py. And most Python programs start with, or excuse me, have the extension .py. So it creates a default Python file for us called main.py, and we can immediately start typing into there. So we're going to write our very first Python program, and so let's go ahead. Whoops. So notice a couple of things real quick. I've got this statement right here, print, and by the way, everything has to be almost exactly the way I've got it here in order for it to work, okay? So I've got this print function right here, print, open parentheses, open quotation marks, hello world, close quotation marks, and notice when I click on where I highlight that quotation mark, it highlights also the one that opened it. And same thing with the close parentheses. When I click by it, it shows me both the open and the closed parentheses there. So now all I have to do is run it. And when I click run, right over here in our console, right there, hello world. It gives me the output of our program. Woohoo! We've now written our very first Python program. Not very exciting, I understand that, and we're not going to do a whole lot of super exciting stuff in the next few minutes. Like I said, this is going to be a short video. I'm going to try and keep it under about 15 minutes. And now, let's say we wanted to print something else right after line 1. We could go to the next line. What I did was I put my cursor right here on the end of the line, pressed enter. So I can say print, goodbye, Python. And so now it's pretty obvious what it's going to do. Let me click off of here. Okay. It's pretty obvious what it's going to do. We're going to print hello world, and then we're going to print goodbye Python. So I'm going to click run, and sure enough, it did exactly what we wanted it to do. So what the print function does, the print function prints stuff to the screen, basically. And right now you can see it's going to print this text, hello world and goodbye Python. And whatever we want, whatever text we want to print, we put it in the quotation marks. I don't have to use double quotation marks. Watch this. I can use the single quotation mark if I wanted to. So for this one, I'm using single quotations, and down here for goodbye Python, I'm using double quotations. I'm going to click run. And it worked. Hello world, goodbye Python. The main thing that you need to understand is that if I open up with single quotation marks like this, a single quotation, I have to end with a single quotation. If I didn't, if I opened with a single quotation mark and ended with a double quotation mark, notice that it's already given me an error. I don't even have to run the program. It's saying string literal is unterminated. That's just a message, an error message saying, hey, this text here, hello world, you opened it up with a single quotation mark and you never closed it out. And in fact, if I try to run it, it gives me that exact same error. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to use single quotation marks there. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it so that we are consistent to double quotation marks. Okay. All right. So now I can also print out some math. Watch this. Print 2 plus 2. Now notice something real quick. Notice I did not put quotation marks around here. Let's see what happens. Can you guess what's going to happen? Try to guess real quick and then hit run. All right, let's hit run. So there we go. We printed hello world. We printed goodbye Python. And then what it did was it actually did that math right there. It did 2 plus 2. It evaluated the statement right here, the 2 plus 2, and printed out 4. And we can do a lot of math. 2 plus 2 divided by 3 I don't know, times 8. I don't even know what that answer is, but let's find out. I click run. The answer is 7.33333 repeating. So now you might ask yourself, well, wait a minute. What if I wanted to print 2 plus 2 equals and then the number? Well, we can do that too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do that here. If I wanted to print out the actual text, 2 plus 2, I'm going to need to put it in quotation marks. 2 plus 2 equals. And now what I could do, I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. Say 2 plus 2 equals. And then down here I can say print 2 plus 2. And so now we should, line 1, print out hello world. And by the way, what happens when you press run is it starts at line number 1 and just starts executing these lines. Line 1, then line 2, then line 3, and then line 4 in order until it gets to the end of the program. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. And it did exactly what we thought it would do. It printed hello world, then goodbye Python, then it printed the text 2 plus 2 equals. And then right here it prints 2 plus 2. And because we don't have it in quotation marks, it simply evaluates that math right there, that statement, that expression, excuse me, and prints 4. But you're probably saying, well, wait a minute. I want it to appear all in one line. I want it to say 2 plus 2 equals 4, all in one line. For now, I'm going to show you one way to do that. Okay, just one way. There's actually a few different ways you could do it in Python. I'm going to show you an easy way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say print and in quotation marks, because I want that text to print, the text 2 plus 2 equals. I'm going to do that. Then I'm going to put comma 2 plus 2. So now what it's going to do, we have separated two different expressions by a comma. It's going to do this one, 2 plus 2 equals, and so it's actually going to print out that text. And then it's going to go to the next thing separated by the comma and evaluate that, 2 plus 2, which is 4. So let's hit run and see what we get. There we go. Hello world, goodbye Python, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Now notice there's a space right there, right after the equal sign that we did not put. Comma automatically inserts a space in the print statement or the print function. So it automatically put that there for us. If that's not what we were wanting, there's other ways to do this in Python, but I'm not going to get into those right now. Now, what if we wanted something like, we wanted the user to enter their name? Well, actually, let's do this. Let me teach you about variables real quick. Some really, really simple stuff about variables. I'm going to delete all this. Okay. I'm going to delete all that. Let's do this. Name equals David. And age equals 53. You can put your own name, your own age in there if you want. And so what I've done now is I've created two what are called variables. You can just think of a variable as essentially a bucket inside the computer, a spot in the computer's memory that we gave the name, and we filled it with this information right here. And another spot in our computer memory that we named age, and we filled it with this information. And now when we use these, it's going to see the word, or when we use name or age, it's going to see the word David or the number 53. So what if we wanted to print these out? We could do this. Print name, print age. So there we go. So what we've done here, notice there are no quotation marks. There's no quotation marks here. Okay? So what it's going to do when it sees this right here, this word name, and notice when I hover over it, this little box pops up. It's literally telling us that, hey, this is a variable called name, And right now it holds the literal text, David. And if I do the same thing with age, if I hover over age right here, it's telling me, hey, this is a variable named age, and it holds the number 53. So now let's run it. And there we go. It printed out David and 53. So what we did was we set the variable name equal to this text David. And we set the variable age equal to this number 53. And then we just printed out their values. We printed out the value for name and the value for age. Now then, what if we wanted to print something like hi, and it prints your name, you are, and how old you are? We could do that this way. Print hello, comma, name, comma, you are, age, years old. This is the most complicated statement that we've seen so far. But let's take a look. It's actually quite easy. Once again, the print function is going to print whatever's in between these parentheses, okay, onto the screen. So notice, and one thing I want to also call to your attention, when I hover over print, it gives me a bunch of information up here in a little box. I know that looks really confusing right now, okay? Don't worry about it, just ignore it for right now, okay? So we say print, and we open up with hello in parentheses. So it's going to print the word hello. Now remember, if we put a comma, it's going to print the next thing with a separated by a space. And remember, name is a variable. Notice when I highlight name, it's also shadow, or I don't know what you call that, highlighting it up here, okay? But anyways, this variable name holds the word David. So it's going to say hello. It's going to print whatever is in the variable name, which in this case is David. And then it's going to print you are, separated by a space, age, which in this case holds the number 53, years old. Let me put a period there just to be semi-grammatically correct. Let's click run. Hello, David. You are 53 years old. Now, another thing about variables is we can change their value. So watch this. Now I could say name equals, I don't know, Bob. Here we go. Bob. And I could say age. Now, here's the deal. Age is a number. Okay, age is a number. So I can actually do some math on it. I could say age equals 53 minus, I don't know, 21. So now age is going to hold the number 53 minus 21, which should be 32, I think. 32. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be lazy. I'm going to copy this right here. I'm going to highlight it, press Control-C. Or I could right-click, and I could go to copy right here. Okay, so there's a couple different ways to copy it. Number one, highlight it all. And on my keyboard, I know you can't see it, I'm pressing Control and C. And that'll copy it. Or, once again, I can highlight it, right-click on my mouse, and come down here to copy. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste it. Okay, I'm going to press Control-V. Control and V. Or I can right-click and come over here to paste. Replit wants to, yes, let's allow it. There we go. Okay. So now we should print out two sentences. Hello name, you are age years old. And hello name, you are age years old. The first time it should print out, hello David, you are 53 years old. Because at the time this is executed, this first one right here, name is equal to David, age is equal to 53. And then right here, okay, the second time it executes, it should say, hello Bob, you are, what do we say, 32 years old. Because once again, we changed what was in name and age. So let's run it and find out. There we go. Hello, David, you're 53 years old. Hello, Bob, you are 32 years old. There's a whole lot more to variables, a whole lot more to variables and printing, but this will get you started. Let's see. The video is now 20 minutes long, and that's a bit longer than I wanted to. I wanted to show you how to get some simple input. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to delete the bottom part, and we can actually get input. The user can type stuff in. Okay. So let's do this. Let's say name equals input. What is your name? Okay. I'm going to put a space there. And then age equals input. What is your age? So the input function, in fact, if I hover over it, it's just telling me that what it does is it gets input, basically gets input from the keyboard, and it puts whatever the user types into the variable that we have on the left side. So when I run this, and we're going to get an error, and I'm going to explain that error in just a minute, okay? But it says, oh no, we're not going to get an error. So let's run it. Whoops. I've got to give this area over here focus, so I got to move my mouse over here and click in it. David, and what is your age? 53. Hello, David. You are 53 years old. So now I can, change it. So if I run it again, I can say my name is Bob, and or Bab, and I'm 12 years old. Hello, Bab. You're 12 years old. I had said it was going to give me a error, and I was mistaken because we're not treating age as a number here. But what if we did this? Very last thing. Print in 10 years you will be age plus 10. So now it looks like it should print hello, whatever we typed in, age years old, and then it should say in 10 years you will be whatever you typed in plus 10 years old. But it's not going to work. Watch this. What is your name? David. How old are you? 53. Oh, we got an error. And it tells us, and I know you probably don't understand this yet, this is a type error. Can only concatenate string, not int, to str. And you're probably like, oh my God, what does that mean? I'm going to give you a simple answer right now and a simple way to solve this. Whenever you use the input function, it assumes everything that you type is what we call a string. It's text. Even though we typed in a number 53, it treats it as text. Okay? So what we need to do is we need to convert that text into a number type. So the easiest way to do that right now is to do it this way. Okay? What it's going to do is it's going to say, hey, when you use age, okay, when you use age, the variable age, I want you to treat it like it's an integer, a number, basically, okay? A non-floating point number. Now let's give it a try. What is your name? David. What is your age? 53. And there we go. Hello, David. You're 53 years old. In 10 years, you will be 63. So what it did right there is it treated age as if it were a number and not text. All right. So now you should know how to use Replit. You should know some very simple stuff. Go ahead and experiment. Write some simple scripts in Python and run them. If you got any questions, put them down there in the comment below. And also, of course, it's required on YouTube to say, hey, subscribe to my channel, etc. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.